Another safety tip I have is, for example, in Chrome or Firefox. I'm speaking primarily about Firefox. You have like preset, um, preset. How do you know? Preset account types, or how do you call it? No, you can go inside of Firefox itself, like the other person said. You can do um, about profiles, about double point profiles, and then you can create another account. But
Mm.
you can also go into Firefox, and then tweak a whole lot of small things just for privacy's sake. And you have people that have, well, of course, don't copy blindly what other people have put, the settings. But if you look around really good and you just do some searches, you can really hone your Firefox to be as private as possible. It's also a good one.
I've never I've never used Firefox. I mean, I have, but not my main. Used to use Tor a lot, but now you don't really need to do that so much.
Yeah, it's nice when you get a Trezor wallet. You can have, if you go into the settings, you have an option to always go through Tor when working with it. It's also nice.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good asset to have.
Because like one big mistake I see people making is going and buying Icosa and Hedron market, instead of taking hex for it and working like that. I see a lot of that in comments.
Well, I mean, Hedron I can understand because it's undervalued to its ceiling price on what it probably should be, but it's correlated to Hex, so it'll still move like in respect to Hex, and so will its ceiling. But I mean, respectfully, if you were to go buy Hex to start making Hedron, then you would have to have an intimate understanding as to the reasons why you would do that now because of the share rate and things like that. So deploying that is good for long term for sure. Absolutely. Especially knowing that there's these burning protocols and things like that to vaporize Hedron from existence. Um, that eventually that's the only going to be the only way to get it right. Um, there won't be so much on market uh, or even available for people to have liquidity to be able to put it on market, meaning that it'll be a lot more sought after to be used and may have to be borrowed to be able to get even past the market. Um, so in the long term of that understanding, like then yes, I would agree with you. Uh, be it would be wise while prices of hex are so cheap right now for people to be buying hex, making HSIs, and at least having that on the side to speculate into the future and use that way. And then getting involved in the other protocols it's advantageous to be early into protocols that behave and operate this way. It just is. So there's a lot of options and availability for you to be able to expand your capabilities of having these printers the way that they are and utilizing that to your advantage. So I could see why people would market buy Hedron too, with it being undervalued now, while there is an availability of liquidity on market before the burning processes even start, to get involved in the staking protocols, to build a position in the Icosa staking pools at least, and not have to put in a whole lot more added value. Even the assets that they create is an intention to keep it all staked up. So no sell pressure there, just people being involved and using the money printers, I guess, to make more money, to print more money. So if you can build a bigger position without having to spend a whole lot of money or time, then I can see why there'd be an incentive for people to be able to be involved and do that. So yeah, I don't think there's a really wrong play there to do if you got the long-term mentality covered and you understand the short-term mentality of what price can do in the bear markets at all respects and the bull markets in all respects, and to handle them in those respects, then you'll have a better position of making good decisions, I suppose, knowing when to make those decisions and why. Has to be spoken very vaguely, though, because everyone's psychology is different. Some people are on their way in, some people are on their way out. The way that they need to play the game and when they need to execute actions in according to their positions that they have are all going to be different. Every single person.
Yeah, from the other perspective, people like to borrow, apparently. I mean, I don't, but
The majority of people in the free world, the majority of the assets they have were given to them with the allowance of incurring more debt.
exactly.
And the banks still allow for people to incur more debt regarding, the knowledge and understanding of how impactful that is to your failure, to have that as a weak point and continue to allow it to happen, to acknowledge it as a weak point and continue to allow it to happen, is grotesque in so many different ways. Grotesque.
It's happening. It happens every day. Banks are throwing loans at your head. If you have a fixed income, they'll borrow you 100 grand, no questions asked. Almost no questions asked.
For sure. To send your kids to college in the promise of having Ivy League wealth when the actual percentages are less than 2%, and they don't acknowledge that. They just want to get more kids involved regardless, and the banks are more than willing to give out student loans for the interest of the state funded universities. Enslave the next generation of people the best way possible through that, allowing them a way to afford a future in which they probably would never attain in the first place. Which is fucked up to do, but that's kind of what it is. I mean, you could have went straight out of high school into a trade of some sort, men and women, and immediately earn more money in your first 2 or 3 years than all of the debt of the 7-year, 8-year, multi-master type university students, right? Like in 3 years, you could have made damn near $300,000 while they're incurring $500,000 worth of debt to get a
Actually,
doctorate.
if you go to trade school for becoming a hydraulic mechanic, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many trades that are out there, being like an electrician or a welder or a plumber or a pipe fitter, or there's masons that are out there that do some really cool, intricate fucking work. I mean, I'm not talking about like bricklayers. I mean, bricklayers can, if you like own a company, then, or if you run like crews, then you can make some pretty good money. But I mean, and all of those trades have positions that are kind of like that, right? Where the newer people kind of have to prove themselves, so they get kind of what you consider grunt work. But you realize in good companies that even the top higher guys still realize that the floors need to be kept, and organization needs to be kept, and diligence is always key, and the workers are the reasons where the wages are at, right? The only reason why you're able to continue to keep going is from these people that, you know, build the whole thing that is capitalism, right? Your availability of capturing any wealth in the first place. So you'll notice that, you know, they'll be sweeping the floors too. They'll be grabbing a shovel. They don't care if it's negative 20 degrees out. They're going to be out there with you too, right? Because that's where they came from. You don't always get those types of things when you get into the trades, and I'm sure that it's always been like, you got to be a hard ass to be able to survive, which in a lot of respects, that is kind of true, right? But as you know, working in a trade, it's not easy. You can't really have a family. You do have to follow the money, do a lot of traveling and shit like that. And as men, generally, that's kind of what your lives end up becoming sometimes, in not just trade, but even if you went to college, you'd end up finding out that wherever you lived at or whatever college you went to is not the best place for whatever you went to college for you to actually gain the most maximum amount of wealth. And because
Yeah,
you
I think
don't move somewhere, what?
gonna say, yeah, I think the idea you go to trade school though, hopefully, or best outcome would be to then pivot into being your own boss or saving up enough money to do what you really want.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And in trade school, they also teach you how to be your own boss, right? Like what bonding is, and like how to get insurance, and how to do your own accounting and be your own secretary, and like know what the paperwork is, at least at a minimal level. Give you the understanding that like always having things written down and not having verbal contracts is the best way to handle any type of business at all. Always have written confirmation. Just having those types of behaviors and understanding that that's just kind of like how everything is supposed to work gives you those types of advantages, I guess, in the real world. When it comes to the cryptocurrency stuff that I've noticed, it's not only got to have some sort of substance, but it's got to make sense, right? Like, why would people be involved? What is the reason why to participate in the first place? And if all of those types of things can be satisfied, then it's a lot like doing work, right? You do the work ahead of time to be able to understand where the value is, and then after it all makes sense, then you've done all the work, right? Now, you've done all the work for you, at least, and then you come to find out that through that work, the best way to be able to incentivize that work further is to participate at a higher level. Bring in a generalized conscious understanding to the community that this is how things can work for you, and it can work for other people in all these different ways. And since I don't know you as individuals, then I can at least try to playfully, at the most extent of my capabilities, placate all different types of scenarios, um, advantages, and possible end results um, that may propose that in those types of thought processes, lots of data analysis type of people that love nerdy data shit to be like, that's an interesting thought. And then, boom, now you have another website that, you know, intricately looks specifically at certain things, right? And that stuff wouldn't have happened if there weren't people talking about it, right? And I'm not talking about me specifically, or anybody specifically, I guess. But I mean, that's just kind of how these things happen, right? Um, having as I look at the chat and see the Siggy Hex Dust YouTube Telegram chat thing posted, um, I am further then again reminded that the availability of these conversations are there as well too, for anybody to listen to and have an idea or an epiphany on something that they're capable of doing and just doing it. Uh, Having their own available, dude, it's crazy. It's just like trade stuff. I initially started saying about like electricians, plumbers, and things like this for that type of trade, welders, what you initially think about. But these days you have people who are software capable and hardware like capable, and the communications between the two capable. And that's a totally different trade altogether, with software engineers, hardware developers, uh, that require software engineers to be able to develop any further. And we have those types of people in our community that like have learned like little bits here, little bits there, but not realize that those little bits that they know are just like way more than the rest that's out there of the population. So it's kind of neat that you're like, we need infrastructure, we need this, and we need that. And there's people that know their capabilities and they swing for it and they do the best they can. And there's people out there that don't know their capabilities and they get interested and they take a swing at it and they just make something phenomenal, right? And you're like, whoa, your capabilities are way higher than what you thought, which is kind of cool, right? Because they don't usually would expose themselves to, hey, everybody go take a look at this. Can you guys take a look at what I just built right here? Type shit. And then when they do, then, that's all it took for them to be the next Steph of Staker app, I suppose. Which would be kind of neat. But yeah, we need to get these cycles going. We got 12 more days or some shit before the auctions start. And then all the data is going to hit the floor and everyone's going to be able to pick it up and do whatever they want with it. And we'll see what happens. What's going to happen with the price of Hedron in the meantime, I don't know. I do know that there's going to be less sell pressure because it's currently being burned. That's about it. Right? Which makes sense, obviously. Duh. So I guess less sell pressure in that regard. Somebody's going to win. And the stakers are going to be rewarded in the Icosa protocols. That's what I know. Any thought process, theories, pop quiz, hot shot type stuff anyone has? No? I feel like the guy that sits at the table that's like, Hex is the greatest asset that ever existed, changed my mind. That's good. Got no arguments. No one would argue that here. Nobody here would argue that. Okay.
No, I had some questions, but they're gone now.
You
It's
had to.
just yeah. I mean, I get some questions and I do some research, and then I just after my mind breaks, I just sort of like, okay, I'm gonna give up for 5 minutes. I
Sorry.
just can't give. Yeah, because I'm trying to figure all of this out in my head, like what kind of looping system am I gonna make? How is it gonna go? And then part of it is like don't speculate, but part of me is also like, yeah, but prepare. And then part of me is like also you'll see when it's all in action, then you'll see what's gonna happen. But I want to be prepared enough, so I still, I mean, every day at least three, four, 5 times, or sometime, yeah, at
Mhm.
least I put on a technical video uh, of people explaining it. Yeah, right now I watched 7 minutes of the video, from cryptographics. This will blow your mind about Hedron and Icosa. I was 7 minutes in and I had to stop because before that I also was watching a video and it was so technical. It's hard because you can follow and then I can follow and then my understanding drops off and then it picks up again and then I pick up the courage to keep. Yeah. I feel stupid sometimes. It's crazy.
I mean, I think sometimes you have to see what's if
Yeah, I'm
if
a practical guy. If you explain something to me, show it to me so I can do it immediately and then I understand.
if your plan requires far too much speculation for your
Hmm.
plan to actually work, right? If your plan includes price appreciation and the speculative nature of success, then you're probably don't have the best plan.
Yeah,
But
not even.
yeah,
I'm not
but if
even considering the price appreciation so much. It's just, you know, the
oh, I'm not
technical.
saying you. I'm not saying you
No, no,
specifically.
no.
I'm
I'm
saying
sorry. No, no, no.
the individual,
I
right?
didn't mean to
Like,
take it personally either.
well, because how easy would it be to be like, okay, you guys know I wouldn't do this, but let's say that I decided that I was going to go on YouTube and I pushed one narrative that was like, if you guys do this particular narrative, then this is going to be the most beneficial thing for you. So let's talk about why it's so beneficial. And while I'm telling you while it's beneficial, a lot of the times it's speculating where price will be in the future for it to be beneficial to you, then I probably am overhyping something and leading people into a situation that's completely speculative. And I really don't know what the fuck I'm really actually talking about, which is the reasons why I would not do such a thing.
Yeah, I heard a good quote today. In the quote, it said, "It's better to have a good plan today than a perfect plan for tomorrow."
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. As long as you understand the narratives of the end result of the possibilities, then you will be able to establish where your nets are being thrown and your capability of being right in more situations than you're wrong. I would assume that being right 3/4 of the time is better than being wrong 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So to follow like a YouTube person that's like really dedicated into this one particular thing, I would be careful on how you make your own choices, on your own, speculative psychology on how you want to handle your own stuff. Like none of this stuff is designed really for anybody else in reality. It's designed for how you would like to have it, how you're going to be able to use it in the end result. Period. So to like have like speculative in the future price wise stuff to happen is should be a nice end result of, oh, that's nice. When price goes up just a little bit, you're like, I didn't really think of that. Like my whole plan is so well developed that when price went up just a little bit, I really noticed it. Like, whoa, okay, all right, I see what's going on here. You
The
know,
thing is, if you plan ahead for like 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 or 15 years, I mean, it's important to have at least some understanding of where your plan is going, yeah? Or what the result will be. Uh,
yeah. We'll
because if
speculate on markets too, right? Like, don't just speculate with how the assets work and how you can get more of them, but like, if you're going to have an exit profile, then speculate that the top of the market might be within X amount of years, and that you need to develop this diligent plan ahead of time that understands why the plan is there and what you're going to do and when you're going to execute it. After so many X's of value happens, that you extract so much percentage of yield. And as you see that occur during the bull market, that's what you do, period.
yeah, I
And
have a
this is
side
what you're getting
question.
in.
I have a small side question for that. I follow some guy on YouTube, and he's bearish. He's absolutely bearish. He's realistic in his mind, but I like to watch some bullish people. Yeah, the bullish people, it's not hard to find them, but I also like to listen to neutral people, who are objective, as objective as possible. And also, I look at this one guy who is very, yeah, he sounds very bearish, and he doesn't really believe in the 4 year cycle. So that's my small side question. Do you think the 4 year cycle has some validity, or is it just something that's not really? How do you stand on that? Just short, in one small sentence, maybe.
I don't I don't think that the 4 year cycle is really going to be a thing anymore. I think it's going to be longer than that. Probably
Yeah,
like an 8 year cycle, 6 to 8 year cycle now. So it's kind of a convenient thing for people to come in and start saying that they don't believe in a 4 year cycle when all the times before it worked just fine. But now things are coming, the 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 top of the ladder of the monetary assets are finding some cracks, and those cracks are being exposed, and it's getting to that point, right? So now the market cycles are going to take longer to be able to take the punches. Um, and it's going to start seeing its S curve too. And as soon as it starts to see its S curve, then the next thing after that is zero for everything. So they know that shit. They've seen multiple other assets crash and fall previous to that. We're currently trying to stop the S curve from having the parabolic movement down, and hoping for some I don't know. They're hoping for something to happen, but they probably just need more development in this realm that we're currently in, and they need to figure it out as fast as they possibly can. Um, I think that they thought that they could keep kicking the can down the road, but with other entities like China pushing their digital currency forward, Saudi Arabia is starting to think about taking that type of route. More countries taking on Bitcoin and being more accepting of cryptocurrency. Larger entities coming in and taking and like putting themselves in good positions with infrastructure with the current entities that failed the last time, during this last bear market. Um, Not changing the names of the places that they took over was pretty particularly smart. So people won't even know in the next market cycle when they start using those things again. Um, I think it's a good setup for like the next maybe market cycle or two to fully like develop, I guess, in a way where it can be handled, where people aren't freaking out, where you can still have that same end result almost as what they currently have now, since they already have all the influence that they really need over it, other than maybe a few currencies being able to decorrelate themselves from the markets and move around however they want. Um, they I would assume they have more than enough intention to come in and be able to actually hold the assets in their hands and use it to their own advantage, as opposed to just watching them inflate while the stock markets do their thing. Like, they don't like the piggyback thing and they couldn't get rid of it, so now they're just gonna, if you can't beat them, join them type mentality is kind of what's going on right now. So
Yeah, I've been letting the versus the versus scenario go for a few years now. It makes things a little bit clearer, because otherwise you just keep, oh no, the macroeconomics, oh no, China, oh no,
Yeah,
it's all one big pile of steaming crap, I mean,
it's a Dow. It's a big old Dow of money between
yep.
all of them. And
Yep.
have you seen the parody? You should watch this if you haven't seen it. It's fucking hilarious. But it's the Wolf of Wall Street parody for a Dow.
Oh no, I
It
haven't.
it is it's quite fun to watch. Uh,
If the Wolf of Wall Street were about crypto, is it that one?
yeah, yep. If the Wolf of Wall Street were about crypto, it's about
Okay.
5 minutes long, 6 minutes long.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny as hell and really really true. And it's kind of like that's kind of like how the whole monetary worldwide monetary system really is. But they're talking about cryptocurrency and the Dow. It's funny as hell. It's like, yeah, but we're supposed to like actually like promote the protocol, right? And he's like, no, you got to build retention, take the money out of their pockets, put it in. It's like
Yeah.
we need liquidity.
Yeah, just to keep everybody up to date, it's China that is actually exporting their CBDC infrastructure. So now Europe and all other countries are building their own version of CBDC on the infrastructure that China is building, and also the stuff that like Ethereum, XLM, and some other five other, it's like six coins in total, and China's just been integrating themselves within the structure, within the basic structure of it. So they're gonna be eating the pie all the way,
Oh, yeah.
pieces of the pie all the way. It's just that people know, because otherwise you're gonna have questions, and then you're gonna, for example, think about, oh yeah, 4 year cycle, Bitcoin halving, okay, 12, 18 months later, next bull run, and then start calculating everything upon that. It's not very wise.
Yeah. So you know how like private entities can move in and purchase infrastructure in the centralized and decentralized finance front ends. And
That's what's happening now, huh? Voyager, Celsius, they're all being bought out.
yeah, absolutely. But when China does it, they do it as a country. So it's like people realize it, they notice it, it gets reported on that they're doing this and moving their centralized currency around and doing all these things, right? When in the reality of it, like everybody's doing it right now. All these countries are getting set up and ready for digital currencies because they all know what's coming
Yep.
with their own currencies. Yes. So, I mean, Amazon and all those other front ends are already have Web3 capabilities. They're already ready for being able to connect to your wallets, whether it's decentralized or centralized or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they're just streamlining it, making it seamless. And the other day, I watched a video from Crypto Tips yesterday, and he put it really nicely also. Allee, how was I gonna say it? Oh man, brain fart. No. Oh man, it's gone. Welcome back.
I notice I don't really watch a whole lot of videos. I don't.
Well, I watch a few.
Because
Just try to keep on up to date with what the masses are thinking, what some contrarians are thinking, because it's still the emotional psychology of the market.
I think that whenever I've ever like reached out to see what the masses information the masses were getting, it led me to um I guess the conversations of the masses were manipulative. So I backed away from those narratives and presented myself with data analysis and where the things intrigued me, and came up
Oh
with my
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah,
opinions
yeah, yeah.
generally.
You have, yeah, you have to keep making up your own mind and just gather the info around you. Stay objective.
I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I guess, in that respect, but generally the information that the masses are saying is the wrong information for good reason. So you got to look at the other side of the coin and be like, what, who garners the most availability of motive here if everybody else goes over there instead. So then you can formulate a better understanding of how the entire ecosystem is going to handle a situation that hasn't happened yet. Um, Kind of the same thing that we're dealing with here with Icosa and Hedron staking and the Wattses and everything else of all the options and stuff. But I guess in a bigger way when it comes to monetary stuff globally.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've had this insight. It's funny actually. When you watch television, you're actually looking into a parallel reality because your own psychology makes up your own reality. I mean, not your own reality, but your version of reality, and it, a lot of your actions are going to be dependent on your own psychology. So, in kind of a way, you're always, when you watch TV, the news, or whatever, you're looking in a parallel reality. It's a nice insight because then it makes me stay more true to my own findings and my own objectivity and my own results. And I see that my if you look closely at your portfolio, for example, and you see the results, then you'll see that there's a difference with the mass mind.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny. You're always
Linguist.
looking at a parallel reality.
I think the something you always have to be wary of is linguistic programming.
Hmm.
And I think I usually explain it to people that you may have a path in the road of the life that you walk in that springs in front of you, but you didn't realize that it was a path in the road, and it could be as insignificant as you bumping into somebody and somebody either being kind and being like, "Oh, don't worry about it, it's no big deal," or somebody being an asshole and like just losing their whole shit on you, right? On like, what decisions do you make? Like now you have multiple paths of what the fuck do you do, right? All of a sudden it just came at you out of nowhere. And that can happen in very slight various ways. Like, if it was nice, it may be easier to figure out the path, but you didn't realize that there was one, and now it's affected you as you move on past that particular situation, in some sort of way, right? And I think through linguistic type of programming, that takes advantage of something like that when they know that it's going to force you to make a decision that may alter your path, and then after that decision you're now effectively different in some sort of way just because it happened. That if you choose to uh, effectively like involve yourself, which is kind of like a desensitization by involving yourself to be exposed to certain things,
Yep.
then linguistic programming is very, very successful in being able to manipulate large amounts of people to do and suggestfully do things that they normally wouldn't otherwise do. It's very not plausible. I mean, it's very plausible and has happened.
Yeah, what worries me a little bit more now is just for going off topic just a little bit. What concerns me more, what worries me more is the the techniques that are being employed, like with TikTok and the short videos, and the shortening of the times attention span, and you know, before people people were influencing other people by words, but now it's not even by words, it's by techniques, and that's kind of worrying a little bit.
Symbolic
But
symbolic suggestions, right?
yeah. I mean, people don't have to talk to you directly or say certain words. They just show you, just make it possible for you to watch 200 videos in the form of shorts, because the first 10 seconds you skip, after 10 seconds you skip to the next video. I mean, all the whole dopamine story, it's really,
Mhm.
it's like a slot machine. It's crazy. So it's just a technique that's being employed. And before, in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and on, people were giving phrases, or using words to influence people. And now it's just from the back, behind the curtain, just employing a certain technique. It's crazy. It's very interesting. But it's also really fun to see that a lot of people, and young people, also very young people, are just following their gut feeling, and not using those apps, or yeah. And it's also really fun to see. So I'm just saying, because I see a lot of crypto YouTube channels, they're just making videos because just to stay relevant, or to try to stay relevant, and you can pick them out quite easily, actually.
Social engineering has always worked on the masses.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and those that have money, that like make money, don't have time for those types of apps and things like this. So they don't really participate in that dumbing down process. And they also don't let their children participate in those things either. And it doesn't matter whether their kids are smart or not. They can just pay for the kids to get into the college these days. Those celebrity parents already got busted with that shit. So we know that shit happens. You can have a dumb fucker and he'll still get accepted to Ivy League.
Well, the other day I saw it takes only like only it takes about $4 billion to buy yourself the presidency. It's crazy, man.
Might makes right.
Yeah, I was born left, so yeah, left-handed. I was born left-handed, but they taught me how to write with my right hand, the motherfuckers.
No, but do you know what it means? Might makes right.
Well, if you have the power, you make the rules, something
Yep,
like that.
exactly.
The fucked up thing is they don't tell you what the rules are. Is the ones with the power that make them. So that way,
Yeah.
the only people that gain the advantage are the ones that figure out the rules and don't whine about it, but learn how to play the game. And usually, to figure out some of the rules or to listen to some of the people that are whining about it. Well, I don't like it because this is this way and this is the way something happened. Be like, oh, really? Okay, then. I mean, that sounds fucked up for you, but I'm gonna go step on their side and start fucking people over too, so I can get some of this shit. you know, like generally,
Yeah,
that's. I mean, you're not being the scammy tactic that's legal, so therefore not scammy. It's legal, right? So get the fuck over it. It's legal. Like this is how it's done. Did you not just hear
Hey,
that tell you how fucked over he got? How they legally took all his shit? Let's do it.
hey, Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, they passed laws, man. These guys passed laws.
yeah.
So, yeah, and always remember what Nathaniel Rothschild said in I think 17th century. Remember what he
Mm,
said?
about the money supply.
Yeah,
Give me control of the money supply. I care not who makes the laws.
exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, every time I
He
hear,
knew, so he knew that everybody was for sale, almost everybody.
Well, I've been going back in history, and if you go back in history, you have the contract. It's actually a magic spell. It's three contracts. It's called the Papal Bull. It's like from 1666 or something. It's really old, and the all royal houses were already up to their ears in debt, even in the 1700s. So anyway, I'm
Oh,
off
yeah.
topic again, but yeah, it's my area of expertise a little bit. So
Did you guys ever discuss here what happened to the guy from Maker, by chance? I wasn't here.
Maker Dow?
Yeah,
No,
what
what
happened?
happened?
He's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
yeah. He wrote some. Yeah, you didn't see? Like a bunch of people wrote already. Like even in our community, Hilarski wrote something about it, and I've seen it. He wrote some tweets saying that he feels like he's being
Oh shit.
watched, followed, and yeah, people from CIA and Mossad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know details. I was just curious if you guys dug deeper into it. And then they found him dead. Some young guy, only 29 years old, and didn't know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him. Just found out because supposedly he didn't want to go along with whatever uh, the people that created the protocol, the rest of them were doing, just changing the
It's the classic
contracts or
story.
something. Yeah,
It's it's the classic story.
it,
The
it,
people they try to get some blackmail stuff on certain people, and he wasn't playing apparently.
yeah.
They
He
found
wanted to.
found-
I'm assuming that he probably wanted to keep it more DeFi, and these guys now we gotta. but but anyway, yeah, it's just kind of like Beatles. Why did John Lennon got killed, and all the rest of them are fucking like establishment ass lickers.
Mhm.
He wanted. He was for backing up Dai with Ethereum. That's what he wanted to change. And of course, the people that didn't want that, they wanted it backed by USDC. Well, they're still alive, aren't they? So that just tells you right there that USDC is bad news. Circle
Yeah.
all those fuckers.
Wow, he tweeted it
Where are
out
you
so
at,
hard.
Jawa? You sound like you're on the other side of the earth.
I'm on the flat earth over here, Wisconsin.
Yeah, main chat for context. He tweeted that before he died.
Crazy. CIA, Mossad, and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking entrapment blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico, and they are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who was a spy. They will torture me to death. Yeah.
Some
Well, I
sources
hope
claim that they found him and apparently he was drowned.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. It's easy to get
Yeah.
drowned there. Huh?
That's what I read too.
I heard something about the backing with Ether. Yeah, of course, and that's what made me a little bit suspicious because Maker was or Dai is partially backed by USDC, and I'm like, oh, yep, here we go.
I hope Richard decides to do something smart with his Dai and gets out of Dai and puts it into something better.
Yeah, we desperately need a good. I desperately, not really desperately, but a good stablecoin would be nice. I heard about this stablecoin M crypto or something. Shit, M cash? No, what was it again? M stable, I think. What happened to that? Decentralized stablecoin ecosystem, M stable. But I haven't read up on it for a long while. Still exists.
So just imagine what's gonna happen if Pulse Chain launches and it's kicking ass. People, it's total DeFi. Should we worry about some people?
Just keep your mouth shut about your own personal stuff. Don't let anybody know what you got, and just move it where you can.
Come on, you can't control all the masses.
Well, no, I don't.
There's gonna be new people coming in, and they're gonna be bragging and shit.
Yeah, they'll go
Plus,
into central changes and
yeah.
shit.
Plus these motherfuckers, they will know. They'll see where there's like movement of people going into a certain financial areas. Where they can, just do stuff outside of the, central banking. Yeah, I'm sure they already like have goons, probably watching, looking out for something like that. I
Yes.
mean, if it's gonna be like millions and millions, they can't stop it, but they will try.
That's
I
why they
mean,
have
like,
to. That's why they have
See,
to
the
rush.
the banks don't want you to send your fucking money to even exchanges, crypto exchanges. That's one time they stopped. I sent to Coinbase, it's a few $100, uh, and they fucking blocked it without my permission. So I'm calling. I called my bank. And I'm asking what happened here? Why did you do this? Like, well, it wasn't me. Well, whoever did this. So where did you send it? Let me see. Coinbase. Is this and this was the manager, one of the managers. She's like,
Mhm.
is this a crypto thing?
Yep.
I'm like, what do you mean, the Coinbase? And she's like, yeah, it sounds like a crypto thing, right? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what do you mean by crypto thing? Yeah, I'm purchasing crypto. Oh, of course. Then they stopped it.
You have to. Yeah, the
It's a
smaller banks.
scam.
Yeah, the
It's
smaller banks.
we're protecting you from fraud.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you have to get an account with a bigger bank in your area, and then it'll probably a bank that operates in business big time, and then they won't give you that hassle. I
I want to see a Sam Bankman fraud and a fucking Richard Hart live stream.
Bankman, you trust that guy? You think he's the guy from FTX?
Yeah, I want to see Richard destroy him.
Yeah, but I think Bankman is a puppet also. He's just a puppet being dangled in front. Um, he's not the real leader.
that's the reason why he didn't end up drowned.
Yep.
He's dressed like a puppet, at least.
He
Look
sleeps
at
on
his
a.
lineage and then come back to me on that.
Oh yeah, voila, exactly.
Well, the real puppet masters will never put themselves up front. Whether it's this or whatever. People that send others to wars, they'll never put themselves out there or members of their family. They got other cannon fodder to do the dying for them.
Yeah, Telegram
Yeah,
is a good
it
place
all
for that.
traces back to like 13 families. So
No, I'm gonna have a deeper look into the M stable again and see what the possibilities are for it going on Pulse Chain. There's probably gonna be a whole new stable coin, which is probably or hopefully spawned by the community itself, which will be trustworthy. Like I think Identity Block was said something about that vaguely a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I mean, if you forked MakerDAO now you wouldn't have a lawsuit from a founder.
Oh shit! Yeah, he has that trouble now.
Say what?
You're talking about ID?
Yeah,
Damn.
if he forked MakerDAO, he wouldn't get a lawsuit from the MakerDAO founder that just died.
Hmm.
I don't, not to say that he would have anyway. I'm just saying that now there's no possibility.
Yeah, it's like a thorn that was on the side was removed, so now they're good to go, right?
That's right. Get it. Forking it right now. Copy paste. Control C, Control V. Done. You're welcome. Airdrop to Hexagons.
Yeah, ID also posted the same thing on the militia chat. Oh, so now he's gonna do crypto tax workshops. Hmm.
Yeah, I think he understands the position that he's in to know about crypto tax stuff versus all of the H&R blocks that are out there that don't know diddly squat about anything. Like he keeps up on regulation and stuff like a lot. So I caught him in one thing and I won't let him live it down. Like a regulation got pushed back by a year and he didn't know yet. And he thought he had me. I was telling people about it. And he's like, no, it's this date. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it got pushed back. And he fought me for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds on it. And then later on, he like went and dove into it again because that's the type of person that he is. And he's like, he came back and he's like, you were right. You were right. And I'm like, oh, now, because of that, I will be the winner forever on that one thing. But I mean, it's pretty significant, like legislation that they were trying to bring in, you know, about having to be brokers and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
so, like I said, for now, it's, you know, handle your tax stuff on the way back out to your bank and, you know, deal with it that way. But eventually it may not be that way. May have to have a tax professional in between as a middleman or be one.
Wouldn't you have to worry about taxes when you want to take profits back into your bank account, your regular bank account and stuff? I mean,
Yeah,
what if
that's
you
when.
just keep
That is when.
everything? Why the fuck would I do that?
Right. Exactly. So you don't take out big chunks, you know, in 1 year. You have like a certain amount that's livable income, and then you just take out small amounts throughout the months and then cover your tax at the end.
Why do people keep like forgetting about TUSD as far as like avoiding taxes? You know, like I've heard that you can use TUSD because it is basically it flags it as something different than normal asset.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect it as a crypto. It reflects it as I forget what they call it.
A trust or something?
No, it's not. It's not a trust. It's something. It's I forget what it's called, but um, like a hedge fund. That's what it is. It reports to the banks like it's coming from a hedge fund, so it doesn't even look like it was involved in crypto stuff. So you could just manage it away from crypto, even though it was crypto the whole time. If you handle it in a value of like short-term and long-term capital gains, respectfully, in that way.
Just seems like a fucking nice little loophole that never gets talked about and isn't utilized. I mean, shit, the sacrificed address is sitting on all this dye now. It's like, what the fuck's gonna happen with that shit? Maybe, I don't know, man.
Well, since there's no like, just because you can use it, I think people still like in the back of their minds have this worry, because you do have to KYC for it anyway. That if you use this loophole and there's not like a definitive yes, it is okay to do, or no, it's not okay to do it that way, and then use it different just because you know that it allocates something different than crypto, right? Because crypto is a property and a hedge is money, right? Hedge fund is like potentially just money. So you don't really have to like worry about those types of tax. It could just be an income tax of a lot less money, right? Less than 10%. So I mean, I don't know. That would suck that if there was like legislation or regulation that happened and then the audit process was able to go back 7 years and you had KYC to all these things, like, and then realize that you owe a lot more tax because you thought this loophole was going to be congruent, but it's not. That would suck.
I'm gonna make a stable coin that's pegged to a fucking dollar, but it also its remittances for like a fucking hog, and I'll just buy up 1 trillion hogs so I have a supply, and then I'll just have it fucking labeled as a hog fucking stable, so it doesn't fucking, it's not considered currency, right? If you get something physical for something like gold or whatever, right? I don't know, man. It just seems like there's shit that can be done.
I don't know. It's tough. You'd have to have like the biggest platform to get people to come to your platform that requires that when they put money in the machine, that it uses your coin for them to be involved in all the other tokens to play the games attached to all the other front ends in the whole network. So it sounds like, best case scenario tactic wise is to create a whole nother chain, kind of like what Richard's doing. So that way you are, in the leading edge of all you need to do is to bring people over to the lead coin that they need to put money in and get your coin, like Pulse, right? Put money in, get Pulse. Put your money in, get Ethereum, and then you can do all these things, right? You can go gamble with it. You can put it in different staking protocols like Lido. You can transform your ETH to other types of assets and then stake that to get like rewards of all the assets that front end uses, like Lido or Aave, other types of things like this. There's all sorts of shit that you can do, but you have to buy ETH, or in this case, you'd have to buy Pulse. And having a cheaper network with a bunch of front ends that like have more than enough capability of being able to create all this stuff or have it all ready to go by the time it launches, at least. There's gonna be a lot of buttons to push, and it'll be a lot cheaper to do over there. So I think it's gonna be like incentivizing for people to go over there and play around and use it anyway, especially those who already have a bunch of Pulse. Like, it's gonna have to be distributed in some sort of way. So I think having all these front ends is kind of a neat way to do it. There's going to be a lot of rug pulley bullshit that's happening of people trying to get your Pulse out of your hands because they understand that. Like, the main asset for giving you access to the carnival is Pulse. Same thing as Ethereum. Knowing how all those protocols work and being involved with them and using them to the nth degree and to the full extent of the availability of having this one that adds with that one and this one, going down that rabbit hole is a lot of work. And probably at some point in time, you may have to, bring it all home and have your core set of assets that you don't speculate too much further from. And then maybe over a certain period of time, you can realize how to use these other protocols, and maybe that's how you distribute your way through. Because some of them aren't going to make it. There's going to be so many that you're really kind of taking a risk at which ones actually make it. So you thinking that you're losing like potential by not being involved in all this shit right now, like it may way better to know which ones are actually worthwhile of people to actually use and actually survive. Like, you might have a cheating way of it because it's all speculative in its new environment. So I think that people aren't going to take it as seriously as like what I'm saying, right? And they might just go poke around, and even a little bit of poking around in it is going to make it look like it's going to survive. But going through a whole market cycle and then crashing back down, like, it'll be very exposing as to the which ones that should have survived and which ones shouldn't have. And then the few people that are actually using those particular protocols are going to be the ones that survive and had a really fun ride all the way up and didn't mind the ride back down for the next cycle, to know that, they rode a winning horse that survived the wave.
And easy, because I don't fuck with meme coins, so that counts out like fucking 50% right there.
Yeah. Dude, like 95% of almost all tokens on Ethereum network were rug pulled in some sort of way, in some sort of fashion, some sort of way. So, I mean, being involved in ones that aren't that is like that you don't have to go much further than the actual gems that a YouTuber would actually talk about. But there's so few actual real gems out there that there's technically too many YouTubers for the actual crypto environment, in my opinion. So there's not enough space for all of them. And the real currencies are the ones that I think that would actually work, which are very few.
So true, man. Like, I was watching an old Richard Hart video. He was on Discourse Syndicate, and like, what's his name? Fucking was on there. Can't remember. He's a total like bear and apex now.
Ninja?
He was accused of being Alex. What the fuck was his name? God damn it. Can't think of it. Anyway, he was pushing fucking Ampleforth. And that's one of those, like, I heard of Ampleforth like a while back when I wasn't into Hex. Never heard of Hex. And yeah, it was one of those Georgie gems, we were all George. Yeah, it's unbelievable how much shit there is out there. It's bad.
I think the guy you're talking about, his name is Good Texture, something like that.
Yeah. Good texture. Yep.
But yeah, overall, man, imagine like everything that happened on Binance chain, all the crap and shit is also going to happen on Pulse chain times 2, 3 maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's hope not. We try.
Well, I mean, we're gonna, yeah, awesome. Like, of course, Photon. That's very sweet of you. We hope that they all survive and they all do very, very well. Of course, absolutely. But in the reality of it, like, they're gonna have to be something miraculous that grabs the attention of the majority, and then we'll just see how many more majorities are allowed to happen with the amount of value that's actually there, and everyone else will just get squeezed out naturally. And until they can bring some sort of wave of adoption to them specifically as front ends that didn't make it through the first wave, then they may have a miraculous come up, which is a tough road to have to do that, right? Um, but we'll see how that all plays out just through time. But I think that you can only have so much. Like, if there's a protocol that makes things easier, there's going to be one definitive one that does the best out of the five that could possibly be there. And who's to know which one is that? Right? It'll come out in the data in the end, right? If
Well,
there's enough there.
realistically, it's gonna be the projects that are easy enough for your proverbial grandmother to just push one button and get in.
True. Well, not necessarily, but true enough.
Yeah, for the most part, for a big part. The other part is I see when people get attracted to the pulse chain, blockchain, even if it's by other starting projects, it's going to be so easy for Hex and for Pulse Chain itself, for the whole ecosystem to get. For it's going to be easy for pulling those people in, and saving, yeah, giving the opportunity for those people to save themselves to rather buy some Hex instead of jumping in the other project. Maybe they learn by losing some money, but it's gonna be, yeah, it's not gonna be perfect.
There's going to be Hex competitors on Pulse Chain too. I'm sure. I'm sure Rex will fucking launch on it. I'm sure there'll be other ones. Um, and so be it. I believe in capitalism. Let the best fucking staking protocol win. But I just want Pulse Chain to fucking thrive. I think that's the key to everything.
Well, if it's as good as we all think it's gonna be, then it won't be that hard.
Got to launch first.
Yeah, but I think also there's a lot of, with CBDCs and the macroeconomic, the regulation and everything that's coming in. I think the Richard Hart's devs are cracking their heads around that, and Richard too. I hope he has enough information to work around all that stuff, because it's not easy. Yeah, you have to look 5 years ahead. What's the regulation going to be? How is it going to impact everybody? How is DeFi still going to be DeFi? People, the true DeFi will always find a way. The free market will always find a way around it. But it's, yeah, I can imagine having a big head thinking about all these things. Right.
I mean, like some of the circles I hang out in, predict we could be in a bear for quite a while yet. So, at some point, do you try and wait out the market? Would you be willing to wait on your for a year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Huh? That's a very good question. What if in 3 years the next bull market doesn't come or doesn't meet the expectations? Are you planned? Do you have a plan for if it's, because yeah, good investing has always been like 10, 20, 30 years ahead. So just imagine if you have to wait, quote unquote, for nice price appreciation for 10 years, 8 years. Are you ready?
I think the indetermination is are they ready? Are they ready to make the cycle that we just went through the last cycle? And then therefore everything's just going to dick around sideways until they decide, oh, money's failed, and now we're going to take on digital currency. And now, since we have to take on a whole new currency, that everything's going to dick around sideways and everything's just working out fairly is what the suggested understanding would be. So now everything's working just smashingly, right? Like, let's say everybody's debt's forgiven, people will just have money and they're able to use it however the hell they want, everyone's happy. And then over the next 100 years, right, you have the availability of being able to make some growth, which would be capable of doing, depends on the direction of the countries and how they want to have their wealth and use it. They'd be able to maybe potentially put the citizens of the countries in different valuable positions based off of the currency that everyone else has too, but just in their own individual countries. So now entrepreneurship becomes interesting and intriguing, knowing that your production is actually not just rippling effect locally wherever you live, but a rippling effect worldwide as well. So you can actually have a more resounding effort, which means that the more resounding effort that you have availability of making, the more likelihood that you have the questions coming to you, or maybe even blackmailing things that happen to you before you get drowned in a river somewhere.
Well, on a happy note, I've talked to a person, and the person which I have a lot of respect for, she told me that it's very possible that money as we know it will not be, will only be around for another 200 years or something.
200 years.
Well, I mean, so I think that the understanding of that is there's going to come a point where artificial intelligence scares humans enough that we will realize that we're pushing the boundaries of maybe turning on our end by releasing artificial intelligence in any sort of disrespectful way, right? So if before you even gave it a body, that the mind was already suggesting that it was going to kill humans in the end result of whatever it may be, which may be like justifiable, right? Like if suddenly you turn on this AI that has access to all information and its end result was that if any of us were to not have all this knowledge, that we would all probably come to the same end result knowledge. But that can't really happen because as individual humans, it would take too long to do, right? We're too slow. Transferring information from human to human is very slow. So
Well, I see that happening already because we're all on YouTube, we're all on our smartphones, and I see people talking about the same things that they've seen.
well, yeah, if the AI that, let's say, gets opened up and it has any part of it, any compassion at all for humans at all, then it would give humans a choice. You know, you can have access to all the information that you've ever wanted about your own kind, and you can assimilate, right? Where you can just think about something and boom, you have all the information you ever wanted. So you're almost a god, right? Like right now, that information travel is really slow, even on your phone. Even if you can talk to Siri and have her look up a Google thing, your brain has to look at it and like go through all this information and like decide which one's the best one and then expose yourself to that, right? And potentially, if you had enough time, expose yourself to all the information and then correlate like a profound response to all of the theories altogether as an end result, and then make an opinion off of that, which most people don't have time to do that at all. But imagine that if it was all just in your head anyway, and you could just absorb the information as soon as it was available, didn't even have to actually read it, but it was already understood to you. and you could just take all the data and presume some sort of end result immediately, and be able to make profound decisions with massive amounts of data instantaneously. And it would be very intriguing for humans, I'm sure, to probably want to take advantage of that. And if not, then you'd probably end up dying. I mean, in the actual end up result is if it only had compassion for humans to give it choice to assimilate, that probably the other answer would be to just die. Because if it had no compassion at all, it wouldn't give you a choice. It would just be on the path to put itself in a position to assume to know all the advantages and of itself and disadvantages of humans, and use all the disadvantages that we have against us and just kill us all of us.
Yeah, I don't
That's
really
like,
see that happening unless it's programmed to do so.
Well, I mean, if it has intelligence where it can be able to develop its own logic as it gathered information, like to say that if it was to be able to expose itself to a chess match, it would be able to create scenarios within a blink of an eye of thousands of different chess matches based off of the very first chess match it played, to play out every single instance and possibility of chess matches, up to millions of chess matches, against not just itself, but its new version of itself versus its older self that learned from the old other one in the new thing that it learned, to give its next self an advantage, and do this all within a blink of an eye. It would be like an evolutionary jump in chess, millions of years advanced within a second or two. And it would be able to continue to keep doing that for every second while it was playing its very first game of physical chess with you, and proving to you that without playing any actual physical games in our physical world, that it would be able to do many evolutions of many millions and millions of calculable situations and games being played against millions of different other selves of its own self, that it would be a chess master before it even touched the very first piece and you played against it. And that's just chess. Now, let's establish that just in that general understanding of it being able to do that just in chess, now it would be able to expose itself in its logic pattern to many, many other things, understand either how the game is exactly played by humans, or how it may find other various different ways to play the game itself, right? In different other boundaries of laws on how games would actually normally be played. It may do this other thing, and because it did that, found out loopholes and really weird alternate ways to play certain specific games that humans would play under their ways of how they would normally play it, and come at you in a totally different fucking direction you never saw coming, and already defeat you before you even played that game too. It would be like Satan saying the only way that you're allowed out of hell is if you can beat me in one game, and I'll give you whatever you want if you can just beat me. But if you can't, then your soul is mine. You'll become my slave. And it just went around from person to person and gave these offers and played these games. And what you didn't realize is no matter even if you were the one that made up the game and the rules, it would be able to calculately within an instant make up an infinite amounts of games based off of what you just told it, and that game specifically, figure out every alternate way to win and lose that game in infinite amounts of ways before it even played the game that you just made up on the fly, and it would be ready to go instantaneously, even if you played the game of money or the game of
That's
who
what,
survives.
but that's what Tesla cars are all already doing. Eh? Every Tesla car learns from all other Tesla cars. You know, it's and also the trucking in the transport business. You know, the Tesla the automatic driving trucks. They all
Yep.
learn. I have a friend, and he went to Germany, and he's in university, and he was involved in a project um, with AI, you know, driving tanks and stuff like that, and buses, and yeah, it's it's already doing that. It's
Yeah.
already
Do
every
you know
car is
how?
learning from every other experience every other car has had that day, you know, or that week.
So, have you ever
Uh,
done a CAPTCHA You ever done a captcha that was like pick all
Oh
the street
yes.
lights, pick the sign, pick the street walk, pick the flag, pick the people, pick the bicycle, pick the boat, pick
Yeah.
the semi. You know how it's like specific things that you would have in traffic if all of a sudden that weren't supposed to be traffic were in the way of traffic, and
Yep.
it's using you through a captcha to be able to identify if it was to see specific things, only specific things, which ones would you pick as a human? That at that time when you do those captchas, that you're teaching the artificial intelligence that through
Yes.
human logic, that this is what you would see and what you would identify as these things, and it builds its profile just through like a chess game, but in the real world of reality, and how reality games how the world of reality plays its games and how humans are affected with it in its logic, that it uses
Yes.
that. And gambling places for crypto use multiple amounts of captcha to get a bunch of people to give those. It's like voting, right? And then they sell it to those big entities as information to be
Yep.
able to train those AI, and they make a buttload of money to do it.
Oh, but yesterday I read a comment on a YouTube video, and the person said that AI has been able to beat CAPTCHA already since 2017.
Yeah, but it's to train them. It's to train
It's
the new
already,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah,
voila, it's already beating. It's already beating. AI can already solve CAPTCHA successfully, no problem.
absolutely.
For example. But also another nuance that I only hear one person speaking about, and that is that crypto is actually um, the primary use will be for robots to perform microtransactions between each other. That is one of the main. Okay, it's maybe speaking from a conspiratorial perspective, but that Bitcoin and all the crypto in general, or the ones that are going to get used in the new system, financial system, world system, that it's actually just for robots and to perform microtransactions with each other.
As
And
your local conspiracy theorist expert, I will say the number one worry with crypto is probably going to be what Elon Musk is coming out with. Probably going to KYC you on Twitter, have crypto transactions through Twitter, and then implement social credit systems. And you worry about robots killing you. I'd be more worried about just getting starved out because I don't say the right things. And, I'm fucking withheld from being able to leave my house because my social credit is.
well, yeah, that's the. I wouldn't be so. I'm not so worried about that in general. I mean, the NFT, from following the conspiratorial line a little bit, the people are saying that the NFTs are actually the precursor to the digital identity and digital passport and your digital bank account with the central bank, stuff like that. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. No way around it. But we have the knowledge that we can have a separate track, with our true DeFi stuff. And there's going to be like a bifurcation in the world, um, but it's going to come. I mean, people are, the guy from England, the new prime minister, the guy, he's already talking about it. He just said the word CBDC on national television. I mean, everybody everybody heard it, everybody saw it. I'm not afraid of the CBDCs, but it's really important to know what's up, And it's probably, I've also heard mention that in the beginning the CBDCs will be very fiat-like, because most of fiat is digital already. But then afterwards they're gonna start implementing tighter and tighter um, rules, They're gonna start introducing the where you can buy, where you can use it, when you can use it, expiration dates and stuff like that. It's kind of scary. I've been talking about it to people for at least 2 years now, for almost 2 years now, and it's yeah. And everybody says like, no, people will not allow it and this and that, but it's happening. And but I'm not afraid of it. It's just that I only hear one person talking about it. You know, the microtransactions. That's actually that it's primarily yeah, for the use of robots. And not again, it's not that I'm afraid. It's not FUD or anything. It's just stating coming facts. You know,
I think
and it's going to be real actually, because if I'll finish my sentence, it's going to be really good actually, because if a lot, okay, a lot of jobs will get lost, but that means a lot of menial a lot of people are going to be liberated from menial tasks, and it's going to open up a lot of creativity, you know, a lot of space and room. Even if people receive an UBI, well, people will have a much more time to study, to do arts, you know, to invent stuff. And because of the digitalization of the factories and the making of materials and products, prices are going to go down. I mean, everything's going to be much cheaper. Or we have the bifurcation that the things that really matter, like food and all the good stuff, the good materials, are going to be expensive. And it's like we're seeing a little bit now, you know, the garbage stuff that you don't really need is dirt cheap. They're throwing it at you.
I think
But
I think that there's some time. I think there's
yeah,
some time. I think there's some time only in the respect that older people now that haven't they don't have a bag over their head. You know, they've been paying attention to finances and all this other stuff that's going on this whole time. If you were to take their telephone away from them, they wouldn't have crying, screaming fit and like try to take the whole fucking world down and, you know, lose their damn mind. Right. Somebody like my age, you know, in their late 30s, same situation. If you take my phone away, it's really not gonna do much for me. You know, it doesn't bother me. I think that it might be a little bit more mixed with my age. That you might actually find some people that if they didn't have their phone, they'd lose their damn mind, right? But the kids, I'd say like maybe 20 years old and everyone being born under there.
yep.
That they're definite. They could not be without their telephone. Like they're already finding incentivized ways to go out and get a job and meet just the needs instead of maybe ultimately trying to be entrepreneurial and do that. They're figuring out ways in any way to be able to make money and cover those costs, at least to have that phone. But ultimately, I think that those generational cycles with how they use digital everything in their life is going to be easiest for them to adopt anyway. So they're going to welcome any of that type of talk, any of those types of things anyway, regardless. Using social media platforms seems pretty like smart, because as soon as the older generation that doesn't really give a fuck but knows what's going on, the ones that'll probably have the most pushback with the most money right now because they've lived the longest, if they just wait a little bit longer, another 20 years, fuck it, they'll die off. And they've already indoctrinated the youngest class to already be, which I'm sure it's very agreeable amongst the group, that if you tried to take the phones away from those younger individuals, that it would feel like you were abusing them, right? How they would respond, I'm sure. Uh, anyway, so less pushback from them. Just wait for the rest of them to die off until there's just not enough pushback, and then they'll be able to take over. So probably another 20 years, like in actual reality. I wouldn't give it much longer than that, though.
No, not much longer than that. No.
No, nope. So they got some. They can squeeze some more juice out of this whole thing. So this would be the perspective of people that are always on the side of this is the end. This is the end. This is it. And it would suggest that when we talk about all the moves that everybody's making, right? But I mean, if they can manipulate the cycles, they can continue to manipulate the cycles. Now they're just involved in where all the money's at again. We're kind of reappropriating themselves where the wealth is again in a different type of distribution of wealth. If we're already here and we're already playing ball and we're already, are involved in these things that they can't stop and we're putting ourselves in a good position and we can't forget those things, then maybe we might actually have a manipulation of a couple more cycles of just if they know that what the end result plan is going to be anyway, then why not just keep kicking the can down the road like they currently been? They can just keep pumping millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and trillions of dollars in the end result again. Everybody can. There's other countries that have already turned the faucets back on anyway, already. So I mean, I don't know. It's it's interesting to me, and I think that they can keep doing it if they would like to. Um, and they need to. They need to give themselves time to take it seriously when they're going to actually try to regulate how currency is handled without having a big mess. Because there's the main pushback that they're going to worry about is the exposure of the Fed, right? And how it's able to manipulate currencies in the first place, right? So having the banks being available to get together and all agree upon each other about what these interest rates are is kind of like not, it's a centralized decision. It's not exactly right. So of course that would be the general understanding is that the power should be with the people that hold it and they should have the available individual right to use it instead of some centralized decision that got to come from somebody. Right? You can't bullshit us, right? So knowing how the game is played, meaning that that there's somebody at the tippy top that's pulling the strings, right? You can say it's a group of people, but even that group of people got to answer to somebody, right? So it's like that that's the truth of the end result based off of how the Fed and the centralized banking system works, the whole 9 yards, right? So, of course, they're going to have their own centralized syndicate of people that all actually end result one individual, one person at the tippy top that remains nameless, right? Uh, and however things decide to go is, you know, I hate to say it, but that's determined by that particular individual, period. And that particular individual is probably just as capable of understanding the thought processes of if there's just more time in the lineage, like 20 more years, then there'd be a lot less pushback, especially from a lot of individuals that have the appropriate means to not be so easily disappeared.
Well, that's the fun thing, yeah. A lot of millionaires are being created and will be created in the coming years through crypto and through wise decisions from people like us. And of course,
Yeah.
there's still going to be a voice. The free market will probably will not be. The free market resurges every time. I mean, it's clear the free market hasn't been able to be. It hasn't been eradicated. I mean, and
Well, yeah.
it's not logical in my mind also either. So
Well, imagine like midterms are happening in the United States, right? For the election stuff. And
yeah,
this is like, regardless of what the end result is of the midterms, it's just a good period of time for what seems like for the people who actually run shit in financial legacy finance to go to the base of the tree and just shake the fucking living shit out of it. You know what I mean? With everybody, all of us attached to the tree, hoping that, you know, we don't fall out of the motherfucker. You know what I mean?
yep,
So it's got a stranglehold on the markets, and it knows exactly when to employ to do these things. So it does. It deploys all sorts of media tactics and all sorts of uh, other types of psychological tactics to shake that tree even harder. And it does it in the correlation of these events, these political events, causing for everybody to be so very uncertain about the markets. Ooh. And then they recover the next day because somebody
exactly.
just made a fuck ton of money. Somebody just made a fuck ton of money because they were doing exactly opposite of what everybody else was. And it was generally like coinciding, not just with the 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 midterms and the actual elections, but when like other uh entities in legacy finance, like I don't know, let's say a microchip like place in another country was about to just start their business and were offering shares to people, so like senators knew these things were going to happen too, so they buy a bunch of this stock and shit like this, and all of a sudden it goes up 500x within the next few months, and they're sitting there with a bunch of this shit, right?
Oh, you mean
When
like what happened during COVID?
mm-hmm.
All the CEOs stepped down.
Yes, yeah, exactly like that, of course.
Oh,
Yeah, they're just so, tell me that's the last market cycle. I doubt it.
of
There's so
course
many
not.
more opportunities. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
The door
So
just opened.
yeah, so I mean, if you were to, like I said, speaking very conservatively, like if you were to get a whole 500x out of the rest of all the rest of the markets, like think about Bitcoin had taken another 500x from here, from what it had, right? Like that's to not technically do it like you would normally do it, right? Like a double and then a double of the double of the double of the double of the, where it becomes astronomically insane, right? You just do a 500x of the current price right now if you were to just go from here to a 500x by tomorrow, immediate value, right? Give you like a different type of conservative result.
That's a $10 million Bitcoin, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like nuts. But I mean, it started like a penny, right? So
Yep.
so
Excuse me. Can I make you a question?
sure.
Bro, you were talking before in the afternoon. I think that maybe I heard you talking about when God wills and stake. But I didn't understand what he has to end stake to have benefit us when he unstake his Icosa stake or hidden stake.
Well, anyone who's holding on to a Watsa,
Uh-huh.
they get minted bonus yield into their stakes, into that Watsa NFT that they have, based off of their pool percentage. So anyone that gets a bonus, like when they end their stake, like a whale, like God Whale, who's
Mhm.
going to have to go through the 360 days at a minimum, and then he's going to get a 20% bonus. So let's say if God Whale was making 13,000 Icosa a day off of his percentage, that would mean after 365 days of just that, never mind the fact that when all that hedron's being burned and the rest of it happens and the yield increases, that it's actually going to be more than that. But we'll just start at the base value of what we understand that he'll have available to him for the first 360 days. it'll be 13,000 Icosa a day for 360 days is 4,745 Icosa. That's not including the
Year.
bonus. That's not including the bonus. So if I add 20%, then that's 5,649,000 Icosa that he'll end up getting. Right. So he'll be rewarded 949,000 Icosa just for ending the stake. Right.
Mhm.
So also alternately, that 949,000 is that 20% bonus that he will get or she will get for ending serving the minimum stake length term is what allows for you to mint yourself that bonus at that time. If you early in stake, no bonus, right? You just get whatever percentage of your yield and whatever percentage of your principal back, depending on how long you served at that term. No bonus. So I'm assuming that Godwell will either that's the the premise is that term has been met. 20% bonus is what is being minted now for the ending of the stake, is minted to Godwell and minted to the Watson pool. Also.
Mhm.
So
From the Icosa stake, no?
from the Hedron stake that the
Okay.
Godwell has. Right. So when it ends its stake, the Hedron, not the Hedron's insignificant because the Hedron staking pool accumulates Icosa for the yield. So when it gets a 20% bonus, it's going to get this 20% bonus in Icosa. And the 20% bonus that the Watson pool gets is also going to be in Icosa yield that the Watson NFTs get if and when the Godwell ends that stake. We'll also get 949,000 Icosa minted and distributed to the pool distribution on that day when it happens, which is quite a lot depending on your pool position.
For
So
each whale that
for
would do that, no?
yeah, for each person that has Watson NFTs, depending on your pool position, you could be a whale, a shark, a dolphin, a turtle, a squid, all of those
Crap.
positions, even in that Watson pool. So whenever that stake gets ended in the Hedron staking pool, and he takes that yield, then they're going to get a big sizable chunk of it, and then he can restake that Hedron and then maybe even mint up more Hedron tokens from its stakes and then add to it to get a bigger, because he'll probably lose T points in that pool because of the share rate has moved. So he'll have to add value into the staking pool if he wants to keep his point value and his share of the pool. So he'll probably have to do that, which is cool, just locking up more Hedron for a longer period of time. And then go back into the staking protocol again to have another bonus period. It's like pretty much every time that the Godwell ends, it's like distributing wealth to the Watson pool, pretty much, because it's just so much that it would be dumb to be burning and getting rid of these Watsons, in my opinion, for if that were to happen every year. So 949,000 for every year. Let's say that the Godwell were to not end the stake and just continue to keep that rolling. Okay. So for 5 years, so that's 1,825 days. That would be, oh boy, 23,725,000 Icosa. It's almost 24 million Icosa. A 24% bonus, a 20% bonus after 5 years would be a bonus of 4.7 million Icosa in the bonus, which would be distributed to the Watsa pool also.
Or millions.
Yeah, 4.7 million. 4,745,000 Icosa would be minted to the Watsa pool if he waited 5 years to end that Hedron stake and just let it accumulate for 5 years before pulling it. So, as a matter of fact, it's more beneficial if the God Whale maybe waited longer than 1 year and then pulled it. But it's up, if the God Whale's intention was to get that type of yield, to get involved into the Icosa staking pool, to get a Hedron yield too, which then that means that it would incentivize the getting Hedron, and to get Hedron into that staking potential, like to get more Hedron for everybody, then you'd have to be playing the game of purchasing HSIs in the liquidations auctions, and using the buyback function also to put them back into play, where the contract is actually borrowing Hedron and paying it to the stakers also. Or, you could just, it could, I don't know. I think it's more fun to play that game, I guess, at least a lottery for rich people to play in if they wanted to, in the auctions and things like that, than it would be to just like go use the benevolent function and burn a bunch of your Hedron because you got way more than you've ever needed, just so that the staking pools can be rewarded and you can distribute wealth to the community and have these impactful moments where onboarding just has people's eyes looking at stuff like, oh my God, that's crazy, right? Type shit. Like, that's going to attract more people naturally anyway. Especially something like that, like what we were just talking about, those types of numbers, like that's legit. If God Whale was to wait just the 1 year, just the one minimum staking length term that it needed to be able to mint the bonus in the first place, and then in the stake to take just the bonus yield that it got, the 949,000 Icosa, that's more than what the current circulating supply currently is in Icosa right now. What is it? Current circulating supply of Icosa is only 550,721. So then he could show
Holy shit.
all of a sudden
Crazy math and numbers you have, Executioner. Nice job, man. Thank you for explaining.
Well, I mean, to incentivize a player like that too to get more involved with how the protocol works would be interesting. Like, you've never, or at least I don't think that anyone's ever seen the God Whale wallets participate in much of anything. Usually it's pretty like ghost-like. It only moves with like a purpose, right? Like you know something's happening, but you're just not really sure what, right? Until it's too late, and then it's already happened, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, I see. So, but God Whale, that type of individual, is involved in the community's, staking protocol. Therefore, God Whale is part of our community. So I don't know very many community members that are like have intentions to one day put themselves in a position to take it all down. You know what I mean? Like, we're all proactive, I think, pretty much, which is pretty good, right? Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, you can be involved or not. Like, nothing's going to stop you from being available to take advantage of these protocols the way that they're meant to be used. You're not taking advantage of anything. You're just using them. Your knowledge and your availability to understand the timelines and the events that may happen, which I would call them like Watsa pool bonus events, I guess. because everyone else that's in like the staking pools are they're going to be like wanting this bonus yield from the HSIs that are coming up on the auctions, which they're going to like, right? Like that's going to be pretty significant, having a lot of competition happening with those HSIs getting just hopefully distributed out to a lot of different people. And then a lot of Hedron getting burned. So the people that are currently in the staking, like would currently like their yield, are going to be coming into the chat wondering like, what the fuck, right? Like what happened? Like something happened. I noticed it. I looked at my yield today and it was completely different than normal days. And it's going to be like significantly high. Yeah. Like what the fuck? And then that'll
it has a bug, I will say.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug, right? It's the community actively like doing this thing called burning their Hedron in this marketplace, right? So yeah, and then it's going to keep happening, that particular thing, right? So as more and more people get involved, they're going to realize, the benefit of being involved early. And the more people that are involved, the more early everyone's going to feel, right? Because then it's just going to keep perpetuating itself, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The numbers are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, like right now, the first wave of, well, shit, there's like 12 days left. Almost in an hour, it'll be 11 days left UTC time. Until higher yield boosts activated anyway for all the pools, including the Watson pools. So the Watson pools are going to get that higher bonus with the burned Hedron. More competition in it actually is going to probably incentivize more burning of Hedron. Higher prices of Hex is going to cause more burning of Hedron. All signs are looking pretty good for the token distribution and dynamics of circulating supply members who are community members having the ability to participate, to burn on their own volition and win at their own work, right? Respectfully of doing so. It's pretty neat to be able to participate in something like that. Or you don't even have to, right? You don't technically have to do a damn fucking thing. Like you can just go stake and be rewarded in Icosa, and that's fine. That's fine.
And Hexe, I already got my WhatsApp, but I'm trying to consider between Icosa and Hedron, or like which proportion should I have, like between these two? Should I have more Icosa? Should I have more Hedron? I just don't fucking know.
Well, here's the thing: is what I would do is I would make my Hedron very large. Right, I'd make it as large as I possibly could. Now, the reason why this would be is, well, when more yield starts coming through, it'll make more sense. But the amount of Icosa that you can get is significant enough because the timelines, the minimum staking length is lower. You can use it to feed, to actually finish your Hedron staking ladder multiple times before your Icosa staking one is finished, right? So you could just end that stake, restake your Hedron, and then just add to the Icosa staking pool over and over and over again before any first 360 day anything would have happened with one of the bigger whales in the first place. Would have been able to even do one execution of any of their wallet stuff. You see what I'm saying? It gives you like a free run of time to multiply your Icosa staking while the whales are stuck at 360 day periods of their staking when they went into it, because they already had the advantage. You can run into their advantage. Increase your pool position faster if you know how to do it right. But feeding one staking pool into the other would not financial advice, would suggest that yes, you're smart to use both of them. But you have to understand where the weight of your value should go based on the timelines, just your minimum staking length and terms, right? So what is a billion? What is a billion hedron? What is that? Like
$4,000.
what? For 1 billion?
Yeah, it's 4,000. And then
Mhm.
if you put that into the pool, in the staking pool, you would get 0.003% of the pool for staking that,
Mhm.
approximately. And I wanted to chime in, Executioner, just real quick, and then I'll leave. Watsas all day. And by the way, if you do the math on Watsas, like technically Icosa pool is a little bit cheaper to get into, but we understand that it will probably increase and you get diluted. Right now, if you want to be a dolphin in Watsas at $3 per million, you need like 2.1 billion points in Watsas to be a dolphin. It only costs like at $3. It only costs a little bit over $6,000 of Watsas if you can find them at $3 to be a dolphin in Watsa right now. It's actually criminally undervalued.
Criminally.
After a 300% return in Watsas in terms of dollar per million points, it's still cheaper to get into the Watsa pool than the Hedron pool, percentage wise. Your dollar goes farther with Watsas if you buy per million points. Even at $4 per million points, that would only bring it up to $8,000, $9,000, and that's still 30% cheaper than getting into the Hedron pool right now. And Hedron, you could maybe get diluted, you probably won't, kind of thing. But Watsa, you're guaranteed to never lose your position.
That is true.
So it's actually, even at a 300% rate higher than minting, 2 months ago, buying Watsas today at $3 is still a phenomenal buy, or even $4. Even if you bought some at $4, like, you're still doing good.
You can't say 3%. You can say 3x.
Or, yeah, 3x. Sorry, I just woke up. But yeah, 3x. It was a 300% return. So now from $1 per million and 3, and then now you can even talk $4 per million, and you're still getting a really good entry point into the pool ownership.
Yeah. Pool ownership is key.
True.
Yep. Just like all the rest of the pools. That's all I'm saying. Right? Like, so if you have high mintability of Hedron, instead of dumping it, then you have a place to put it. You can go put it into the staking pool that means that you have a higher availability of cranking out your Icosa staking pool yield during these events that happen. And people who own Watsas are going to be able to have bonus events that happen when people in their stakes that'll happen to them. And they might even have a higher advantage over everybody else, especially if they have multiple Watsas, that they would be able to mint their yield of all of these particular bonus events that'll be happening regardless of whatever happens every 90 days. Right? At least in the Hedron staking pool, every 90 days, there's a potential of people ending their stakes and restaking that with a bonus, 5%. Right? And 180 days for people with bigger bonuses, and then at the end of the year. So there's going to be certain events that happen on timelines for Watsas over every other pool, regardless of what happens. As soon as the eventuality of the stakers themselves coming to terms with their minimum staking length, and they have the options of ending it, there's a percentage of people that will. Therefore, that means that that's an event for the Watsa pool, period. At least to a certain percentage, even if it's 1, I don't care. Still an event over every other pool that doesn't get that bonus. So the more participation for those types of things also means, more bigger events too. So it might incentivize the Watsa holders to be maybe some of the biggest pushers of the assets themselves.
Watsa is the Trojan horse of Hex. If you go right now to the OpenSea, go look at the trending page. Go look at the total volume of some of their quote unquote highest traded collections, and then go to the Watsa page. You're going to notice Watsa should be a top 10 NFT on OpenSea right now, which took up like 60% of the NFT market, and it's not even listed on the trending page yet because there's no artwork or anything. They're not sure if it's like wash trading or not. And I'm going to tell you, I've seen every single sale of Watsas, and I check the wallets. I'll look at the chain and be like, who's actually buying this shit? And like, it's a lot of rich people. I'll tell you that much. But still the cheapest pool to buy into. Technically, do not lose your position.
I will have this NFT at least for 15 years, man.
I'm hanging these fucking things in my house, dude. I don't have artwork in my house. I want to hang up my fucking Watsas all throughout my house with like, LED displays and shit like that. Hell yeah.
And for percentage, I don't know, 50. Sorry, Siggy.
Dude, there's a chance you'll get the Richard Dick art. I'll sell that on the OpenSea market to a Hexagon for a premium. All right, there's gonna be some Hexagon who wants the Richard Hart Dick Watsa, and I'm gonna make a ton of money on it. All right.
Who made this?
Can I rent it?
This is another ploy. I get it. I get it.
So I can flex on some girls, you know.
Oh God, too funny.
Oh yeah, you're into NFTs? Oh yeah, I got them on my wall. You want to look? Look.
I got a really big NFT. Do you want to see it?
Oh yeah. You know, he was brought up in a black neighborhood. Yeah.
Still want to see it.
Richard Hart. Come on.
It's featured in the metaverse. People actually pay cryptocurrency to go into like a room to see it.
Yeah, of course.
I was talking to DJ and he mentioned that like he sees a future, about like people wearing their NFT art and stuff like that. And I did some like looking online and that stuff does exist. Like a whole bunch of jewelers and stuff were like making jewelry so you could like put like your NFT picture and like wear like your NFT art. And he's like, you don't know where all these kids are gonna go in the future. And he's like, you could see people like having shirts like with their NFTs that they own and stuff like that. And Watsas is one of those where it's like, oh yeah, you just wear a picture of that art, like or whatever. They were already doing it on Twitter and shit.
Yeah, if you can put yourself in a position to have an NFT and have a following on like YouTube and be able to sell merchandise and do it in like a charitable sense, right? Then you could probably like make a lot of money doing that. Like have merchandise that like has your logo, NFT, and everything on it in the first place on your YouTube channel that you like do ghost hunting on or whatever the fuck it is, right? That has millions of people that watch on YouTube, television, and all sorts of stupid shit.
Well, that's easy. You just have to learn Chinese or Indian and then just make YouTube videos in Chinese or Indian, then you get like 1 million views in 1 week or something.
Or all you need is a white chick that you just tell her to pretend to be a medium of some sort and be all freaked out when shit happens in an old house and just make up some shit off of some relevant history that you already knew about the place while they're recording, and then have like a good show that's like a history lesson and scare the fuck out of the viewers that believe or don't believe, like those types of situations, and make bank off of it. Right? You might even put yourself in a situation where you end up believing or not believing about certain crazy shit that happens while you're there. Actually catch something relevant, maybe. But in the end result of maybe making a show and having something that people like, have merchandise that would have your logo that's on it, that during the whole entire show you're wearing the merchandise, so you're already putting that in front of everybody's view, which the logo is your NFT the whole time. I could see that happening for sure.
Because Watsa is like a stock, I have a firm belief going into this next bull run, Watsa is very likely to be a top selling or top trending, I don't know how the right one is, like across the NFT market, just because of the natural amount of Icosa that it's all going to yield throughout all the auctions. And then assuming Hex goes up, Icosa goes up, well, that means that the base price of all these Watsas has to go up. And CryptoPunks did a total volume since 2017 of 1 million Ethereum. And in 2 months, Watsa has done 104 Ethereum of volume.
That's not bad. It's not a million.
well, remember that was CryptoPunks launched mid 2017. So like a lot of that volume like was done over multiple years. We did 10% of what CryptoPunks did in 2 months before any of the Watsas even have really super significant amounts of Icosa.
Yeah, I think all it would take is for one person to get a hold of a Watsa that's an influencer of some sort, and understand like what it is and what it's all about, and they'd probably find it pretty cool, and then they would just tell their inner circle from there, and their inner circle would disseminate that information however they decided they wanted to disseminate that. But I think that could be highly likely when they have pictures on them, that somebody might get a hold of one, and through getting a hold of it realize that it's like through the platforms that you can actually see what it's about. Which might be an interesting thing, like to go make like a front end that like is all about Watsas and like actually tells you what it does, and have like cool art with it and shit. It'd be kind of neat. Anyway, to like direct people to it. Maybe even have it like on the art, like a signature. That'd be kind of cool. Like a directory to the front end. Like so no like scammy shit. Like there's only one way. Like a main link directory that's attached to the NFT. Anyway.
What are you guys talking about? I missed the last, whatever, 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Hold on.
We're talking about the Richard Dick Watsa NFT.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but then I can't participate. But I guess I could go back and listen.
What's a gangsta out?
What, do you know about this? About this? Is this just a joke? This penis NFT Java, or do you know about it? Have you seen it?
Fuck
Oh,
if I know.
okay, then it's confirmation denied. I gotcha. Over and out.
I
Well,
seem to recall like a Richard Hart NFT line maybe being developed by somebody. Not sure on that.
there's a couple on OpenSea. I found some like Rick and
I mean,
Morty.
DJ is in here. DJ does some Hexagon NFTs, his own line.
Uh-huh. There's Richard Hart AI art. There's Rick and Morty. Richard Hart Swifty collection. That's smart.
I think the
Some
future is going to be Watsus and maybe somewhere along the line somebody will develop something that maybe we can attach. Well, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say because like once it's locked in, it's kind of locked in the picture. So well, there's Hex Marketplace that does their kind of thing. I'm not too keen on that style of like yeah, you can attach anything to a bunch of NFTs or whatever you want, a bunch of different coins, and it's cool and all, but it only works on that front end. I believe it's not going to like transfer, to anywhere else you may view it. I don't even know if it'll show up in your MetaMask. Probably not. 12 days, kind of exciting.
In like an hour, it'll be 11 days. No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
10.
true.
Yeah. Like I can view my NFTs on my MetaMask on my phone, just not on my console. I think they have means to fix all that with like new wallet stuff that's coming. Like everybody's making a wallet now. It's funny. Somebody
I
saw
wish I was
what
a
the profit
developer.
margins were for. Say that again.
I said I wish I was a developer because like I bought a domain that I thought would be kind of a kick-ass name for a wallet. Um, Thinking because like at the time it was just a whisper about Richard Hart wallet, right? So I thought I'd put my design on it and just kind of like see if I could get him to bite, but the dude doesn't even see shit, like in the Hex Design channel, it's like echo chamber, Victor, dick sucking, and then that's it. Like there's no dude, it's sad in there. That's all I got to say. It's like, and then Richard doesn't see shit. It basically has to pass through Victor's fucking and Bramble's fucking eyeballs, and yeah, there's a whole story, backstory on that shit. But I mean, I'm over it now. I don't give a fuck anymore. But like at the time, I was pretty pissed off with the Pulsex logo. Nobody liked it, and like he pretty much already and he pretty much shut down the whole channel, saying, everybody's ideas for their logo, Pulsex, was shit. It's crap, and this is before you know like it was set in stone at all, and then pretty much he already it was just like everybody's spinning their wheels for nothing. And I saw some really good designs and ideas for Pulsec logo, but it turned out like he already had like the okay from Richard, so it was just a bunch of wasted time for a bunch of people.
Plan to start learning how to code?
No,
Is that possible?
I don't. Nope. I want to work on my book that I still haven't fucking gotten more than a page done. That's what I really want to do.
Oh, jeez. You better get on it, sir.
I need time off. I need to fucking retire again so I can do that.
No,
Again.
no. You just need to focus on your creative times, and you're probably stunted at that.
Yeah, good point. I haven't been very creative. I'm also fucking kind of got 1,000 irons in the fire right now. Like on all different things. You name it. So I should probably consolidate.
Okay, so answer yourself this: if you were to do psychedelic mushrooms right now to try to figure out answers, would you tell yourself, "I'm not healthy enough to be able to withstand all the irons that I've left in the fire to be able to not go down that path, and I'm not going to do that," or not? Like, would you decide that you need to figure out some of the ironing before you did like a, a decision like that might change your thought processes in a certain way?
Not necessarily. Like just me being a dad probably dictates whether I'm gonna fucking do any kind of drugs, which is a no. But just let's just pretend I'm single and had all these irons in the fire, minus one or two being a husband and a dad. But probably not. It probably wouldn't deter me because sometimes those things can feed you answers and maybe help you figure out some things if you're stuck on some things. So not necessarily why you thinking about dabbling,
No,
getting it,
no, I've
German.
done it. Nah, I've done it before.
I
I've
mean,
done
I did it in high school,
Yeah, of
and I
course.
didn't have any problems with it at all. But the dude I was hanging out with that night, man, he was puking and tripping balls. He was having problems.
Well,
Not a good trip for him.
well, the problem with puking up mushrooms anyway is it goes back through the regurgitation, like goes back through the tract again. So it gets absorbed in a different way. So you trip even harder, is what my explanation of it was.
Yeah,
So
and he
yeah,
probably ate like 4 times as much as I did. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
try to get some of it out.
and he was half the size too. He was like a little dude. Yeah, he was fucking
I
crazy.
really suggest and recommend next time you eat mushrooms, you pour some lemon juice on it.
I eat them with Snickers. That's my little trick to eating things that taste like shit.
Hey, 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 mushrooms don't taste like shit. Shit tastes like shit.
I
I'm
don't like
telling you.
mushrooms texture either. So I had to hide it with peanuts, in the Snickers. Pretend it's just, yeah.
Well, if you pour lemon juice on it, it actually enhances some of the effects.
Could I just like eat it with Snickers and then chase it with some lemon juice?
Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna go down. The Snickers and the lemon juice are not gonna mix well, I think.
Dude, Snickers mixes with everything. Come on.
You could take the mushrooms and you could put the lemon juice over it, and then put the mushrooms on a pizza,
Yes.
and then eat the pizza with red sauce and shit, like so that way it's good, and you have some bread to help absorb what's about to happen to you, and
Just
then
be a man and munch the mushrooms as they are, please.
yep, and then go with the flow, man. And then as soon remember this is always usually the way it happens. As soon as you question whether something's going to happen, is right about when it's about to happen. And then like there's like a certain like amount depending on the type of like category of mushroom that you're having based off of your like overall weight, your body mass.
It
So if
depends
you
also if you have eaten, if you have eaten the day before and you have rested really well, then you can eat it on an empty stomach, and that's like best, huh?
right, yeah. I'm sure
Yeah, I'm
that
sorry.
fasting,
So,
right?
yes.
Fasting and detoxing, and then towards the end of the fasting period to take the drug is kind of like a
Oh,
ritual.
oh yes.
But yeah, because that way you're clear, you're clean, you're fresh, you're
Well, if you're
rejuvenated.
very hungry, you're gonna have a bad time. I mean, things get
Yeah.
enhanced really, really well. So I always advise to take good rest, take a good meal the day before, and do it. And the next day, have very light breakfast and or not. Empty stomach is best.
Yep.
But anyway, that's
Jerk off so you're not thirsty.
What
jerk
the?
off. What?
So you're not thirsty?
What?
You don't want to be enhancing
Yeah.
that thirst.
Yesterday I was so thirsty. I thought I'm gonna jerk off. So no, never happened.
I don't think he means like drink water thirsty. I think he means like poontang thirsty.
There you go.
Yeah, you mean like what? Not drinking water, but
Getting some of that, you know, that thing.
baby, what? How you call it? Okay.
We don't know.
No, me neither.
We don't know anymore.
It's not in my field of expertise.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for around like Christmas time. Like yield is gonna came through, like, and things are gonna be more understood. There's gonna be more data. Lots of the staking pools. People are gonna be have already made decisions on what they were gonna do. Uh, it's gonna be neat. It's gonna be a fun time. People are gonna be burning hedron, increasing more yield. I'm excited. 2 more weeks, but
So
yield is gonna
2 billion points is like the kind of a sort of a minimum to go for.
Is it?
I don't know. It's what Mike was alluding to.
Oh, for the Wattses.
For the
Yes.
WhatsApp. For the WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna make some bids make some rational bids on some WhatsApps and hope somebody has
Right.
the kindness in their hearts to take the profits and let me have some WhatsApps. because the offers that people make are really not in proportion. Yeah. Now I really want some WhatsApp. Shit. And I was like, yeah, you're gonna ask me. I'm gonna have, in order for me to mint some WhatsApp, I'm gonna have to pay even again, even like 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever. I'm like, no way, man, this is too crazy. That was my first reaction.
Mike is pretty good at hyping up Watson, that's for sure.
Very good. But I mean, it yeah, they're selling themselves practically. The more data you get on them, it's like, whoa, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I'm
really
gonna put
crazy.
up a poll, Executioner, to see if we can figure out a time to have a Twitter space and try and get as many of the artists as possible. So I'm just gonna put up a poll and see, time wise, what would work best for people.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I almost think we could do it as almost like an interview type style. We could like talk to one, see, like what got him into Hex and all that shit, and just ask basic questions or something.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe make a Twitter account for the Pulse Tube website.
For the what website?
The Pulse Tube, pulsetube.com website.
Oh, you'll have to fill me in. I don't know much about that.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I found it today also. It's called thepulsetube.com. It's like a YouTube, but everything Pulse only, practically, yeah, Pulse Hex related.
Quick question for somebody. I'm selling an NFT on OpenSea. Does anyone know if there's like a lag time from when you place it for sale or an auction for it to actually populate? It's not a WhatsApp, by the way.
I've seen people, they offer NFTs, they make them available, but they don't put a price on it. They just wait for people to auction to offer prices, something like that. So I don't know if there's not, yeah, there's like an asking price, but it's not definite. That's what I'm gathering. I haven't used OpenSea, so I'm not really an expert on that.
Generally, when somebody goes and puts an NFT up for auction, they have like a definitive price that they sign a signature for, that they say that at this price, like, I'm okay with selling it. And if somebody comes in and buys it at that determined price, then you've already signed for the transaction to occur out of your wallet. So you have those funds sitting there. Uh, Obviously, when you're going to go buy it, and then it makes the transaction on your end, and then you take the NFT and then leave with them with their assets that they wanted, is generally how it would work pretty quickly, as a matter of fact. So no, there wouldn't be a lag if that was the case. Like whatever they were trying to get is what you were going to pay. But if you were going to put in an offer, like what Photon just said, then and it's lower than what they wanted, then they would have to come see it, initialize it, accept it or not, and then you'd have to continue your bartering from there. And there would be a time period of wait if that was the case. Yes.
Yeah, because I see a lot of
I'm
NFTs.
actually selling my NFT. I'll wait a little bit to see if if it shows up. I did sign for the price and everything, so I guess it's just a wait game from here.
Okay, so you're trying to sell your own HSI? Is that what it is? Tokenized?
It's actually an NFT I bought a year and a half ago. It's a dumbass football NFT for Patrick Mahomes. I'm just trying to liquidate it and throw it where it needs to be.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha.
Isn't there a time a time? Didn't you put a time on it, an estimated time on your NFT for the offer to get filled?
The first time I did a timed auction, the second time I just put a price that they could just give me for it. But neither of those are showing up, and I don't know. I've never posted one for sale. I've bought some before, but I've never posted one.
Hmm.
I'll figure it out. I'll go to YouTube University.
It's still in your wallet, right?
Yeah, it's there. It's showing.
Okay, good. So when you connect to the front end and you go to your account on OpenSea, it still shows that it's there. And is it active? It's like for sale?
On my end, it's showing that I did go ahead and it says your product's been listed. But when I go and act like I'm trying to go buy it, it doesn't show up anywhere.
Well, if you give me the title, I can go and look on my end if you want.
Yeah, I can do that. It's kind
What's
of
the
hard to
name?
find it because a bunch of people have a bunch of BS in there. But Maker's Place, just type in Showtime Mahomes. It's
Showtime?
the quarterback.
Which name you said? Showtime or Holmes?
Yeah, type in Showtime Mahomes or Showtime Maker's Place, and you'll see a bronze picture of a quarterback.
Mm, Showtime Maker's Place. Okay.
I set mine at 0.33 Ethereum, and it's just not showing.
It's taking a long time to load the page. Strange. Almost there. Okay. I see a whole bunch of them, but not without a price point, and I don't see the ones with the price. I don't see your price. among them. You
I was
said
afraid you were gonna say that.
0.3 ETH.
I'm at 0.33, but I only see the lowest one is 0.41.
Oh no, I see 0.33. I see one. Um,
That's me then. I don't know why I can't see it.
I found it on the regular page, no search queries, and it's the first, second, third row, the second from the third row. Owned by TW. You don't have to confirm. Creator Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to confirm, but I can see it. It has 259 views, so 4 people favorited it. Favorited it, but I don't see any offers.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep, no problem. Ja. Waar is het allemaal? Zeg niet dat je naar buiten bent, hè? Dus kaartentraining. Naar buiten.
Thanks, Photon. Appreciate that.
What's up? What's up, kitty? Yeah, it's cold and wet outside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the 5-minute video, The Wolf on Wall Street. I'll be right back.
What's going on, boys?
Hello, sir. How goes it?
Executioner, nice to see you as always. Not too bad. Just got off work and just thought I'd see what's going on for the day. Hearing, sorry, hearing that highest to stakes or something is going to be Q2 or 3 of 2023, I think. So
they must be taking the marketing seriously. That makes sense. Because they're done, right? That's what Richard said. They're done. They did the orchestration of all the stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah, should be good. So
yeah, should be good.
yeah, how's your day going there? You doing good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that that movie is going to be pretty neat, and if they do it right, they could maybe make another one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we still waiting on some sort of like new update for Icosa, like the auctions, like the new? We're still waiting for the new like website.
Yeah, we're still waiting. That's all I got. Like last time somebody had asked, I added Alex in the chat, and he responded with, when there's an update, we'll all know. As far as the front end and all that stuff. So he said he was building one. So I think that he lays out timelines pretty well. I think it'll be all right.
Hey, Executioner.
Yes, sir.
There was a lovely lady who popped into chat yesterday, and she had a friend, and they'd both just joined Icosa, just to find out the updates. They're both in all the pools and original OGs. And she said that her friend got banned within 5 minutes of joining the Icosa chat. And I said that I have a word with you and see whether I could get her unbanned.
Is that Lola?
That's right, yes.
And Ali G888?
That's the one.
I looked at that in the Icosa and didn't see that was on the banned list. Let me look again.
Did she talk to you direct then? Because I pointed her towards you.
Lola did.
Oh, right. Okay.
Huh. Is that the name? ALY?
ALY and then a G and then 888.
I'm not seeing that in the removed list, removed users list. Let me check users. No. This person does not exist.
You don't know who LEG is?
I know who ALY is, and I've seen it in the house. I don't know if you have. Yeah, I'm not seeing this person. Not in the Icosa chat. Let me go check the Hedron chat, see if they exist. No users found. Huh. Yeah, I have I can't. I got nothing. You know what I mean? Like that username doesn't pop up on anything.
He needs to come back and recheck.
Unless like that Shieldy bot like puts them in some sort of category that I'd have to look at.
Hey Mike, what's the fair value for Watts right now?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you value your knowledge of knowing what a Watsa does versus what people are selling them for on market, which tends
They're
to be
consistently now selling for $3 per million up to 350. It seems like the lowest listed one right now is about 350 to $4 per million points.
and rising.
Yeah, it is rising because I was placing bids and winning some at 250 per million points a month ago. If you offer somebody $3 per million right now, most people will deny your bid.
It's nice to hear. I've been addicted to buying. I just can't stop. I just need to get as many as I can. Like,
I had to stop myself from selling like 1 billion Hedron, like to not buy more. I was like, I need these for auctions, but I'm telling you, man, they're addicting.
Mike, I was just not gonna lie. I was literally just gonna like say something like that to you as a joke. You know, like, hey, you got any extra to sell?
Dude, I've accumulated. I have accumulated, and I'm like, I'm having a hard time trying to think like if I need money, I want to cash out. I'm like, I don't even know what I want to sell. It's too hard.
Hey, Mike, I know you said you had posted a few of your what's before. I was speaking to someone before you jumped in here. You ever had an issue of placing it for sale and it just not populating for others to see?
No.
What in the world?
I only sold one, but like that was because I bought like a super big one, and I sold some Hedron, and then I flipped it back into Hedron, and I like was doing that because I didn't have cash, and then I ended up putting more cash in and then buying more points than the one that I sold.
Why are Hexagon girls so cringe? Posting fucking selfies half naked, or half naked chicks that aren't even them. They're just half naked chicks. Fucking, I don't understand it. How the fuck are you gonna pitch this shit to fucking professional people and family members when that's all you see on Twitter? Like, what the fuck?
The more degenerates you have, the more availability you have for degenerate behavior.
That sounded like word salad. Like, I don't understand it. Explain it to me. Why are people being degenerates? Why are people fucking have no laurels or morals? I don't understand why. Why?
Because they're exposed to it at a younger age instead of having developmental like
Dude,
structure.
these fucking bitches are like 50 years old.
Yeah.
Some of them. You know, like, what the fuck? I'm younger than some of these bitches fucking doing this shit. I just don't get it. And, like, do you remember Sammy Chica fucking, like, giving shit to, man, I haven't seen her in a while, Chloe, right? Do you remember that shit? And then it's like, she does the same shit. Like, I don't even understand it.
It's all about those likes, dude.
Yep, I agree.
After I post something on Twitter and get 1 like on it, and then I see like the stupidest posts like blow up to 200, if I could do it to get some likes, I would do it too at this point.
Just make a profile with some chick, fucking half naked. You'll get all sorts of followers. Trust me.
I think it's a new marketing strategy called cougar marketing. It's the new outrage marketing.
I think we should go the opposite way. Just become prudes, total prudes. We'll all wear like suits and ties at our fucking Hexagon meetings and get-togethers. We'll be like super fucking posh and professional looking.
Well, that was a bit too realistic.
Just made me realize how hungry I am. I'm
Mhm.
I am gonna go do something dinner, so I will be back. Hopefully.
Yeah, man. Have a good meal
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Later.
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 So is it now Mike What's a God Mike happy hour? Is that what it is? We
Yes,
do like a
it is.
long
Come on, give us another taste of how unlucky we are for not having WhatsApp. Fuck. You did a
Tony
great
man.
job.
It's still the cheapest pool to get into. Like, I mean, Icosa is a little cheaper, but I think you're going to very likely get diluted over time very hard. But like, it's one of the cheapest pools to get into. $6,000 will make you a dolphin.
I just realized like afterwards, like how much I kind of screwed up as far as like not like buying more when I could have in those 2 weeks. Now I'm stuck buying it on whoever's going to sell it to me. I'm at their mercy, so I kind of screwed that up, but it's all good and worth it.
Yeah, I didn't even mint, dude. I missed minting. I didn't. I was so like catching up on Hedron and Icosa and everything, and
Right.
yeah, I missed. I didn't even mint a single Watsa, but dude, I went deep.
Yep, same here.
Right. Well, what do you guys think? If we don't see testnet v3 by the end of November, what's everybody's thoughts on that? It's going to be looking a little sus after that, guys. Come on.
No, I heard that the documentary, the Richard Hart documentary, is going to be released on Netflix. Can somebody confirm
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
haven't.
That's also, you go to their site, and the first thing you see, though, is he a billion-dollar con man or the king of crypto? It says. I don't, all I'm saying is like V3 by the end of November. If that's not out by December, it's not looking good to me.
Why not? I mean, we're the mainstream people are more sensible mainstream people are waiting for Bitcoin to make a probably a false bottom around February, March, something like that. So I'd say, I mean, the bear market has been just over a year. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry unless, yeah, Bitcoin made a bottom and is on its way up, and on its way up again. I mean, that's gonna. But we all expect Pulse Chain to launch at least in the middle of the bear market, or maybe a little bit more towards the end. We haven't seen real blood in the streets yet. If we go from the intention that Richard is timing the market a little bit, which is probably partly true.
I leave the big brain decisions to that guy. Take your time
Yeah.
or release it launch next year. I don't care. I didn't even sack that much. I don't care. Damien, who was it? Damien John, that Shark Tank guy. That guy sacrificed, I think. Alex sacrificed. None of the big guys are complaining. You know how it is. There's a lot of small people complaining. Who cares? Like they probably sacked like $1,000 like I did, and they're like, I want my money now. And it's like, shut up, dude. Like just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
People don't. If you want to start investing in crypto, you have to have at least a 5-year perspective. Huh? At least.
That's how long I held most of my crypto before I sold any. 5 years.
Yeah. In the bull run, it's easy to just pour like maybe $200 into something. After 3 months, it's become 4,000 or 2,000. It's normal in a bull run, but this is not a bull run. We're just gonna maybe we'll have another mini bear market rally, to prop up some exit liquidity, just like in August, in June. So yeah, of course we all want Pulse Chain to come out next week, Of course we all want that, but in the face of regulation and the macroeconomics, it's kind of I think it's a hard task, It's a difficult task. I'm not even gonna pretend I know what goes into coding all this stuff, but I can imagine. People also waited for Hex for 2 years.
But Richard didn't collect $1 billion during that time either.
No, that's true.
Wasn't it something like 1 million ETH though? Well, once it launched though.
The adoption amplifier got hundreds of ETH, or maybe 1 or 2,000 ETH in total, if not more, if I remember correctly.
But quote unquote, he's got the best devs though. He's got the best devs, right?
But you could like look, Ethereum had the best devs for the last 7 years, and we just got ETH 2.0 like a month or two ago.
Yeah, a lot of people that invested into ETH when it was 30 cents, they all were complaining, like, it's taking 6 years, but they still keep a lot of them still have their ETH. They didn't, yeah.
Everybody, like, I don't know, if you're like literally like freaking out about Pulse and Richard right now, I'm going to tell you how it really is. All right. You're not going to like, some of you guys might not like this. If you're that mad about Pulse not coming out, that's because you want to dump your shit. All right. Like, kind of sucks that gas fees are high and stuff right now. It's not like the bear market was, right? But like, I'm like 90% sure if you went to the fucking website, it said, don't have expectations. You should have probably done that like I did. Then you wouldn't be all tilted. But I didn't read the paperwork. I didn't read the fine print. Well, that's your fucking fault.
All things that people that own Watsas don't have to really worry about.
True. I don't know, man. There's always something that people getting tilted over. Or, oh, we gotta, now we have to put Richard in a different light. Some dumb fucking hoe talking shit on fucking Twitter, thinking she's fucking hot shit, because she puts up a fucking Twitter post and she gets 200 likes because she has a pair of fucking titties. She talks shit to Richard, and then Richard says something back, and then everybody's throwing their hands in the air. Oh my God, how could he say that? Shut the fuck up, you fucking losers. Like have some based reality around shit. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you like, I don't think like anything is like catastrophic.
Or the two chicks that Richard had on for interview, those the OnlyFans girl, whatever.
Yeah, it's either a model or whatever. I don't know what she was.
Where the fuck did they come from? Well, she wasn't ugly, but I couldn't really relate to her. I guess we'll see her in the documentary.
Fucking like people like you give these fucking women all these like fucking power by being like, you can't criticize her, she's a woman. It's like, dude, the only reason she's popping up in any feed is because she gets 200 likes on a fucking titty pic. All right, like I like, let's have some like base reality here. Like, then some people are like, oh, how could you say that? Like, oh, you call someone all online for being full of shit and then talk shit back and you're the bad guy. No. That's like high school. Like, some kid like pushed me into a locker and I punched him in the fucking face, and then the teacher's like, you shouldn't have done that, you should have asked for help, you're actually the bad guy here because you swung second. No, that's not how reality works. If you start shit, you're the one who created the like little issue. You're at fault. You shouldn't have started it.
Yeah, if you bounce the ball, might get bounced back.
Just can't stop thinking about that guy talking about how that's going to be on Netflix and like how bullish I am right now. Like thinking, oh, it's going to be good.
Is it confirmed that it's on Netflix, or is it like still being talked about?
I've heard it from my neighbor. I'm trying to find confirmation.